This is Mission Control Houston coming to you live from the Artemis Flight Control Room here at the Johnson Space Center. These are live views from the Orion spacecraft named Integrity from one of the solar array wings of Earth. Speaking of Earth, Integrity is 82,000 miles and counting away from Earth and 175,000 miles away from the Moon. Splashdown is targeted for later today, 13 hours, 7 minutes from now. The crew is currently asleep aboard the spacecraft named Integrity and is waking up in 4 hours, 35 minutes now, and counting down. While we are on the heels of Flight Day 10, let's take a moment to look back at the mission highlights from Flight Day 9.
Integrity crew, when you are able, could you give us an indicator or an indication if you are bumping up against or touching the smoke detector in any way when you're over in that area of the cabin?
I think MCC reported some erroneous data yesterday. Maybe that's happening again. We had a towel over there, but we don't think we're bumping into it. Give us a couple more seconds because we need to grab a few more pictures, and then we'll try to get away from it for a minute.
And we don't have any concern. You guys can stay over there, keep taking your photos. We were just curious. Continue.
This is Artemis Mission Control in Houston, Texas. We're currently 7 days, 5 hours.
All right, sounds good, Jenny. Yeah, we caught a view of Earth in window 1, and now we're completely distracted for a little bit. You guys are looking great.
Thanks. Yeah, we love that. We were just noticing, it's really cool, actually. In the data that ECOM's seeing, they're seeing an indication on the smoke detector, and they think it's when the flash goes off. So we're just curious. Thank you.
This is Artemis Mission Control in Houston, Texas. We're currently 7 days, 5 hours, and 22 minutes into the Artemis 2 mission. You can see the crew there on your screen inside the Orion spacecraft, which was named Integrity by its crew. They are currently capturing some images. It looks like they're capturing images of each other in front of one of the cabin windows with a view of Earth outside. And of course, we have been uploading and sharing imagery as we receive it from the crew. There on your screen from left to right, you can see NASA astronaut Christina Cook, NASA astronaut Reid Wiseman, and Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen. And it looked like Reid was trying to show off the image that he was capturing just now.
Wow, thank you for showing us that. That is so cool. We look like we're smiling at you, like a little Cheshire cat.
Yeah, that is exactly the same comment that we made, and then that's why we put Victor beside it for his smile, and took a picture of him there. And his smile is as bright as your smile.
I believe it. Thank you.
Sunny 16 when you need to take a picture of a happy hike.
Now ECOM is as happy as the Earth.
And Houston, you're seeing a little bit of a CCU dump yourselves, Crescent Earth, and a solar array. So it's a pretty sweet view out window 1 right now.
This is Mission Control Houston, and this morning as we get underway with Flight Day 9 on the Artemis 2 mission, joining us today, Johnson Space Center Director Vanessa Weich. Vanessa, thanks for being with us today. It's a privilege.
What a phenomenal mission we've been having. So excited to be here.
It is historic in nature. We're about 32 hours until we're expecting the crew to splash down in the Pacific to complete the mission. Big picture, the history-making aspects of the mission are clearly delineated, but in your mind, the significance of what we are pulling off here this week and what it means for the future.
You know, Rob, it's just... It's hard to describe the significance of this mission. We have building and planning our teams towards this for quite some time. The Orion spacecraft is managed here at the Johnson Space Center. We have been a part of the design, development, test of that vehicle, and it's had milestones along the way. You know, we had our uncrewed Artemis 1 mission back in 2022, but now we have our astronauts on board, and they are demonstrating that that spacecraft is ready for us to have humans on board, for us to continue deep space exploration, which we have not done since 1972. So this is the Artemis generation. This is our generation's opportunity to explore and to build from what Apollo did, but moving to the moon, we're now going to have a moon base. We're going to learn how to live there. We're going to go to Mars. It opens up all of the universe. It's just amazing for human exploration.
And we're on board Integrity with our 4 astronauts, Christina Cook on the left, Victor Glover, Commander Reed Wiseman, and Jeremy Hansen of the Canadian Space Agency on the right. The crew is continuing to stow equipment on board. They've concluded a conference with Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling to review procedures for tomorrow's return to Earth. And we'll soon be moving into a midday meal on this day before their homecoming to planet Earth.
And Jackie, while I have you, we just wanted to express even more our gratitude for these awesome, I'll call them drink notes and drink messages. So many people wrote really cool, heartfelt messages on our bonus drinks, and we are just smiling ear to ear every time we look at one. So thank you so much. It was really fun to find these, and they're really giving us a boost for Entry Day.
We will make sure that message gets heard by everyone who needs to hear it. Thank you.
This is Mission Control Houston here in the flight control room. A welcome visitor, Charlie Blackwell Thompson, the Artemis launch director who kicked off this mission with the flawless launch of the Space Launch System and the 4 Integrity astronauts back on April 1st. She's here visiting at the Johnson Space Center, currently talking to her Ascent Flight Director, Judd Freeling, and the Entry Flight Director, Rick Henfling, who will be on tomorrow to preside over Integrity's return to Earth. One other countdown clock that's ticking here in the mission control room is the halfway mark en route back to the moon. It is almost incongruous to imagine this, but here we are on the eve of homecoming for the Integrity astronauts, and we're an hour and 33 minutes away from reaching the halfway point en route back from the moon. It's just the way orbital mechanics works, that sets the course and the velocity and the entrapment of Integrity into the grip of Earth's gravity that dictates all of that. But again, we're about a little over an hour and a half away from reaching the halfway point back from the moon for the splashdown in the Pacific tomorrow night. Again, ongoing discussions between Jeremy Hansen and Capcom Jackie Mahaffey here in Mission Control as the crew packs up from a cislunar camping trip. This is very much akin to what you would do after a camping trip or a holiday vacation. There was no holiday involved here. It was simply an historic flyby of the moon that occurred several days ago. Once again, we're about 30 minutes out from our final public affairs event of this mission, a conversation between members of Congress and the crew aboard Integrity as we approach the halfway mark of their trip home back to Earth from the moon.
Wireless mic, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off.
Copy blast off. Good scene and voice. We'll be ready on time.
And we have the camera off just to prevent overheating and battery drain. Confirm you got a good image coming down.
We do have an image coming down.
You know, Jackie, snark does carry across the cosmos.
That delayed smile made me feel very good.
Good evening, Artemis 2 crew. As you all approach your final day on this historic journey around the moon, the people of Earth remain inspired by your mission. They are energized by space exploration, and most importantly, they're eager to have you all home very soon. Now, NASA couldn't execute on our important mission without the steadfast support we receive from the United States Congress. We work with the agency to make sure it has the right direction to expand American leadership in space and the necessary resources to execute on our world-changing mission. Now, we have several NASA congressional supporters online today, and they have a few questions they'd like to ask you on behalf of their constituents across the country.
I can only imagine the awe and wonderment you feel, but I want to just start by saying thank you. You are inspiring. That is not hyperbole when Jared speaks about the people of Earth. Across the planet, people are watching you and amazed, watching you put food packets away, as we were doing just a few minutes ago, watching you float around with the floating head, and you are bringing people together all across our globe. So thank you. Thank you for your good cheer. Thank you for your eloquence. Thank you for inspiring people. I have two questions. Number one, if you could go back in time and talk to yourself at age 10, what would you tell yourself about going to the moon? And then question two, if and when they make a movie about this, who do you want to play you?
Well, sir, it's an honor to be with all of you, and please say hello to all of our colleagues there at Johnson Space Center. We can't wait to be back. My 10-year-old self, I recently found some photos of myself on a family vacation at Kennedy Space Center, and we were posing in front of the Saturn V rocket with my siblings and my parents. And if I could have told that little girl who took home a picture of Earthrise and hung it in her room that she would eventually launch from that same place to see that same view, I'm pretty sure she would not believe it. But even though I still can't believe it, and she certainly wouldn't believe it, she chased that dream, and it ended up happening. It's such an honor to hear that we've inspired. That's truly one of the top things that we ever wanted to do. And I am definitely not answering the movie question. That's going to be for Reed.
Senator Cruz, it's great to talk to you, and thank you for visiting our friends and family there at the Johnson Space Center. That is fantastic. We've thought a little bit about the movie, and I think that's way out of our pay grade. So we don't know who's going to play us. That's up to whoever decides. But one thing we do know for certain is this guy is going to be played by Buzz Lightyear, 100%, no doubt.
I have a question from one of our local voters here in Indian River County. Her name is Renee, and she said, what were you thinking when you were going around the moon, the furthest ever from Earth, on the dark side of the moon? We'd love to hear your thoughts as you made your way around the moon out of radio contact.
So during the time of the nearest approach to the moon, we were doing so much science. I took a brief moment to say a short prayer of gratitude for being sent on this mission and trusted with, bringing back scientifically relevant information. And I also just felt like I was hoping that people looked up and were watching to see when we came back into communication, and that maybe there was a chance that folks would feel a sense of togetherness. You know, we have a moment of silence whenever something solemn and that requires reverence or someone that we love has passed away, but maybe we could call it a moment of togetherness. As we were in radio silence, I was really hoping that we could just have a sense. You heard the word togetherness a lot from our crew, and really was hoping that while we were waiting to get back in contact, that people could just feel that sense of togetherness, that we were all a crew on Spaceship Earth.
And integrity, just over 10 minutes ago, as you were having that event, you passed the halfway home mark.
Okay, copy that, Jackie. Sounds like the next 24-ish hours we're gonna accelerate quite a bit then.
Absolutely.
This is Artemis Mission Control in Houston, Texas. The final targeting for the upcoming Return Trajectory Correction burn, or RTC-2 burn, has been completed, and we do expect that RTC burn to take place in about 29 minutes from now. As of right now, it's expected to be a 5.37 foot per second delta velocity burn and approximately a 9-second burn. This will be using the 8 auxiliary pulse-X thrusters on the Orion spacecraft. Here in Mission Control Houston, the team on console is currently conducting their go, no-go poll for that upcoming Return Trajectory Correction burn. And again, this burn will further fine-tune the trajectory and the path of the Orion spacecraft as it makes its final approach ahead of that re-entry and splashdown targeted for Friday, April 10th.
Integrity Houston, tank pressures are good for the burn.
Integrity copies.
Integrity Houston, maneuver to burn attitude starting in approximately 3 minutes.
We're expecting the same. Thanks, Amy.
This is Artemis Mission Control in Houston, Texas. We are currently about 10 minutes away from the start of the Return Trajectory Correction 2 burn, or RTC-2. This is expected to be about a 9.41 second burn with an expected delta velocity change of 5.37 feet per second, using the 8 pulse-X thrusters on the Orion spacecraft to further fine-tune the trajectory of the Orion spacecraft on its path back towards Earth. Currently on your screen, you can see a view of the Artemis Real-Time Orbit website, or ARO. The Orion spacecraft is currently traveling at a velocity of about 3,400 miles per hour, and it is about 114,000 miles away from Earth. Earlier today, it did pass the halfway point of its return back to Earth. Again, it is expected to splash down off the coast of San Diego, California on Friday, April 10th around 7:07 p.m. Central Time, 8:07 p.m. Eastern Time. In just a few moments, we should hear confirmation called up to the crew that Orion is in burn attitude. The Orion spacecraft is currently maneuvering to that burn attitude.
Integrity Houston, Integrity is in burn attitude.
Artemis Mission Control in Houston, Texas. We are now just under 30 seconds away from the time of ignition of that upcoming Return Trajectory Correction burn, which will be the start of that burn. Again, it is expected to be about a 9.41 second burn using the 8 auxiliary pulse-X thrusters on the Orion spacecraft's service module to generate a 5.37 foot per second change in delta velocity. And we do have confirmation that the Return Trajectory Correction burn has started, that taking place at 9:53 p.m. Central Time, 10:53 p.m. Eastern Time. And we also now have confirmation that the burn has completed, again, that taking place at 9:53 p.m. Central Time, 10:53 p.m. Eastern Time.
Integrity Houston, good burn. We are assessing the details.
We see the same and copy.
This is Artemis Mission Control in Houston, Texas, and we do have that confirmation that the recent return trajectory correction burn was completed, and it was a good burn. Teams on the ground assessing the details, but it was expected to be a 9.41 second burn for a 5.37 foot per second delta velocity. Again, these return trajectory correction burns help to fine-tune the Orion spacecraft's path as it makes its way back to Earth, and this was the second in a series of 3 return trajectory correction burns, with that first return trajectory correction burn taking place on flight day 7, and the final return trajectory correction burn is expected to take place on flight day 10, about 5 hours prior to entry interface.
Integrity Houston, confirm a good burn, and prop post-burn reconfiguration is complete.
We copy all, and we have a gorgeous view of you out window 2.
Awesome, we're waving at you.
We are too.
This is Mission Control Houston coming to you live from the Artemis Flight Control Room here at the Johnson Space Center. We are at a mission elapsed time of 8 days, 13 hours, 2 minutes and counting of the Artemis 2 mission. The crew is currently asleep aboard the spacecraft named Integrity and is scheduled to wake up in 3 hours, 57 minutes counting down from now. Orion is currently 177,000 miles away from the moon and 80,000 miles away from Earth. We are counting down to today's entry preparations and operations that will take place just a little bit later on today. As we prepare for that entry, splashdown is currently targeted at 12 hours, 28 minutes and counting down from now. You are seeing live views from the Integrity spacecraft of Earth as we near it and approach. You can see a crescent of the Earth that is in daylight and the other part of the Earth that is in nighttime. We are here in the flight control room at the Johnson Space Center with our Orbit 3 team of flight controllers who came on console at 2:30 a.m. Central Time. Our Orbit 3 team of flight controllers are in the room right now that you see, which is being led by Flight Director Ron Spencer, who you see in the blue shirt on the right side of your screen. And then we have our 2 capsule communicators, or Capcoms. Today's Capcoms are Tess Caswell, who you see next to Ron, and next to Tess is Daniel Serber, our second Capcom. As mentioned, the crew is going to be waking up in 3 hours, 55 minutes and counting down from now, and we'll continue to provide live updates here from Mission Control. This is Mission Control Houston here in the Artemis Flight Control Room at the Johnson Space Center. At a mission elapsed time of 8 days, 13 hours, 25 minutes and counting, we are counting down to the Artemis 2 crew splashing down off the coast of San Diego in the Pacific Ocean. That splashdown coming up in 12 hours, 5 minutes, 55 seconds and counting down from now. While we continue to provide you with the live 24/7 continuous coverage, the crew is asleep aboard the Orion spacecraft named Integrity. They are scheduled to wake up in just about 3.5 hours from now. With that, let's take a look at Flight Day 9's mission highlights.
Integrity crew, when you are able, could you give us an indicator or an indication if you are bumping up against or touching the smoke detector in any way when you're over in that area of the cabin?
I think MCC reported some erroneous data yesterday. Maybe that's happening again. We had a towel over there, but we don't think we're bumping into it. Give us a couple more seconds because we need to grab a few more pictures, and then we'll try to get away from it for a minute.
And we don't have any concern. You guys can stay over there, keep taking your photos. We were just curious. Continue.
This is Artemis Mission Control in Houston, Texas. We're currently 7 days, 5 hours.
All right, sounds good, Jenny. Yeah, we caught a view of Earth in window 1, and now we're completely distracted for a little bit. You guys are looking great.
Thanks. Yeah, we love that. We were just noticing, it's really cool, actually. In the data that ECOM's seeing, they're seeing an indication on the smoke detector, and they think it's when the flash goes off. So we were just curious. Thank you.
This is Artemis Mission Control in Houston, Texas. We're currently 7 days, 5 hours, and 22 minutes into the Artemis 2 mission. You can see the crew there on your screen inside the Orion spacecraft, which was named Integrity by its crew. They are currently capturing some images. It looks like they're capturing images of each other in front of one of the cabin windows with a view of Earth outside. And of course, we have been uploading and sharing imagery as we receive it from the crew. There on your screen from left to right, you can see NASA astronaut Christina Cook, NASA astronaut Reed Wiseman, and Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen. And it looked like Reed was trying to show off the image that he was capturing just now.
Wow, thank you for showing us that. That is so cool. We look like we're smiling at you, like a little Cheshire cat.
Yeah, that is exactly the same comment that we made, and that's why we put Victor beside it for his smile, and took a picture of him there. His smile is as bright as your smile.
I believe it. Thank you.
Sunny 16 when you need to take a picture of a happy hike.
Now ECOM is as happy as the Earth.
And Houston, you're seeing a little bit of a CCU dump yourselves, Crescent Earth, and a solar array. So it's a pretty sweet view out window 1 right now.
This is Mission Control Houston, and this morning as we get underway with Flight Day